So what is natural for us is to make decisions based on feel, right? Like if we feel like something, we tend to make a decision based on feeling. We have to make data-driven decisions. All right, welcome to another playbook. So I wanted to kind of bring up this concept that we always talk about, data-driven results, like we got to do stuff by the data. We have scorecards and all this stuff. But I think one layer deeper came up in a conversation earlier this week. And I wanted to propose to you one thing that might change your results with your data immensely. And that is this concept of we do what we feel. Okay. Now stay with me. We'll get back to data in a minute, but we do what we feel. Sometimes we don't, we might want to lose weight. I used to hate working out, hated it. All growing up was like the worst thing ever. And that was my mom's profession. She was a fitness instructor and a gymnast. So she always wanted me to work out, be physical and stuff. And I just wasn't into it when I was young at all. I mean, to say that I wasn't into it is an understatement, right? And then something happened to me in my mid 30s and I just destroyed my back. I was working in the restaurant industry and I used to lift these kegs that were way heavier than I was. And I just destroyed my back. And when I started working as an insurance agent, we were putting together all these desks and lifting all this stuff. And all of a sudden just threw out my back to the point where I was laid up. And for the next 2 years, I was constantly on the floor. And I got to a point where I couldn't even pick up my kids. And this is when my first two are really, really young, couldn't even pick them up. And so about 2 years into this, where I would be laying on the floor when I come home, barely being able to do stuff around the house. My wife was super fed up with it and said, you got to go to physical therapy. So through that physical therapy, of course I did it, right? Happy wife, happy life. So thank God she pushed me into doing it. So I went to physical therapy and my back ended up feeling so much better from this. It was over a year process of constantly going and doing physical therapy exercises. So throughout that process, I realized if I want to be able to pick up my kids and do stuff like I used to when I was young, then I'm going to have to work out every day. Do physical therapy. I call it working. I mean, it is workout, but constantly do that. And so I don't want to work out at this point in my life necessarily. I work out every single day since that happened. So for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years since I did that, because I want to feel better. And I know that I won't be able to do things in my life to do it. So don't want to do it, but I feel like it because I have all of those experiences. Okay. So we do what we feel like. Okay. The feel is the why, right? The feel is the why. Why do you do it? Why? My why was because I want to be able to pick up my kids. That's what I should be able to do as a dad. So that's why I do it. That's my why. What is natural for us? So let's get into the agency. How does that apply to our agency? So what is natural for us is to make decisions based on feel, right? Like if we feel like something, we tend to make a decision based on the feeling. We have to make data-driven decisions, but it is natural for us to make decisions based on feel. So we have to be real cognizant of this. And then also, we end up leading. This is the crazy part about this whole thing. We end up leading our teams and everything based on data. So we end up telling, if you tell Sally at work, Sally, these are the results. You need to do this, right? You took the feel out of it. We all know that we're motivated by feel. So naturally, we make decisions based on feeling and we lead with data. And that does not get us the results that we want. That is exactly how low performers perform. You got to flip that. And it's not natural to flip it. But the elite agents and, the elite agents out there that are listening are thinking, this is exactly what I do. We need to make decisions only based on data. Take feelings out of it, right? Why? Because that's all that matters. All that matters is the results, the numbers, what's getting done. But we need to lead our teams with feel because that's their why. You got to tell them why to do it. It's so funny too, because when we're kids, my kids all the time ask me, no matter what it's a nightmare. No matter what I ask them to do, they say, why? Why do I have to do it now? And I end up having to give them the reason. And they ask why to everything. And I think it's really natural for a kid to do that, right? And we know that. But as we get older, adults don't ask why as much, which is crazy to me when you think about it, because the why is probably a great question to ask for anything that you're doing, but you don't ask why. So you don't tell the why, but they need the why. Everybody needs the why in order to feel like doing it because feeling comes before action. So this is super powerful. So the elite agents make decisions based on data and lead with feel. Lead with the why. Ultra important. it like dawned on me how those two things are flipped backwards. So your bummer agent, the one that's on the Facebook groups complaining all the time, they're complaining all the time, right? Their decisions are all being led by feel. They feel like this isn't working. Oh, this feels, right? And then they're leading their team, just telling them, you got to do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's just, you're never going to get the results you want. The elite lead the opposite way. They make decisions by the data and they lead with the feel. I was going to say, that sounds really wacky to me, but I just wanted to kind of share that insight with you because that's super important to me. And I feel like the opposite daily. I have to keep myself in check so that I can flip those so that I'm only making decisions by data and only leading with feel, the why, because that is how you get to the end result that you want and create that culture in your agency that you want. So I want to share that with you today. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, comments, blah, 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 hit the buttons, the likes, the comments, and ask us. We'd love to interact and tell us your why. Like, what is your why? How are you leading? And how are you making decisions? And tell us. I would love to know. All right. And that's Jason Feldman with a playbook.